Morning, everybody. Welcome to Hotshot Money. Got a story for you today as to why I do not do dual dispatching anymore. And dual dispatching is when someone calls me and they're hung up somewhere and they're trying to get out of there, and for some reason somebody sent them to a part of the country they had no business going to in the first place. So what it boils down to is people will call and they say, hey, I'm hung up, I need help getting out of here, I can't get out of here. Well, generally my first question is, who sent you down there in the first place? You know, that's a relevant question, is who sent you to that part of the world to begin with? Because that's who really created the problem. So anyhow, I get this call from this guy, and this guy, his name is Ron. Now I want you to sit back and envision Ron, the type of person that comes to mind with a name like Ron. Okay, now a little brief synopsis of his history here. He is a former union laborer who decided to go into hotshotting, and he was going to make all this money to be made in hotshotting. So anyhow, I asked him, I said, well, who's been dispatching you? And he says that he's had his wife dispatching him and he's been dispatching himself. So I said, okay, yeah, no big deal. I said, well, how old is your MC? He said, well, my MC is about 90 days old. He said, but I keep getting hung up, I can't find any loads. And I said, well, okay, what equipment are you running? And he says, well, I'm running a 32-foot gooseneck. Now, back in those days, if you had anything less than a 40 foot, I didn't want to talk to you. I did not want to talk to you at all. Because 32-foot trailers, they're really kind of a problem to begin with. They're really short. There's not a whole lot you can put on them as far as weight wise or length wise, and generally they're what's known as a one load and go trailer. Generally with a 32-foot trailer you can only put one load on there. So I felt for the guy, because like I said, I'd like to say I've been where he's been, but I really haven't. So I said, well, all right, I'll take you on. I'll send you the paperwork and get you processed, and we'll get you out of there. And I asked him, I said, by the way, how much money have you been making? How much money, rephrase this, how much money has your truck been making? He says, oh man, I'm doing about $2,500 a week. Okay, that's a pretty significant problem, because I'm pretty sure his insurance was costing him between $600 and $800 a week, plus his truck expenses. So he said, I'm making less now than I made as a union laborer every week. I said, well, don't worry about that. I said, there's one caveat here. You run the loads that I put on your trailer. He said, yeah, sure, I don't have any problem with that. I said, now, do you have a problem getting your loads delivered on time? He says, no, I've always delivered my loads early. I said, okay, now we've got something to work with, because with that frame of mind, I can actually pre-book your loads a day in advance. So before you get dropped, your next load will be ready. I said, that's kind of how I roll and the way I keep you moving. He said, oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. I said, all right, we'll give this a try. I said, but here's the deal. If you're late on one load, from then on until I can get some more confidence in you, you'll be calling me when you're empty, and then I'll find you a load. And you don't want me to find those kind of loads. Those loads are what I call scrap loads. They're loads that have been picked over by other drivers because all the really good loads were taken the day before. So, anyhow, I start getting this guy's loads, and I keep them rolling for about 3 weeks. Now, he had a good average run rate, which I've got a video on average run rate, and it's something anybody getting into Hotshot or in Hotshot should know. And you'd be surprised how many fucking people don't know what an average run rate is. So, yeah, look that up. I'll post the link to that video. So, anyhow, with me, he runs for about 3 weeks, and he's ready to go home. And I've kept up with his average run rate. It was really good. Kept up with his numbers too. And his truck was making about $7,500 a week. Not bad. Yeah, not bad. I mean, even by modern standards. Now, this was pre-corona, but you know, his truck was doing about $7,500 a week, between $7,500 somewhere in there. And he went home, and this is usually where the turn happens. Okay, here's the turn I'm talking about. He calls me up and says, "Hey, somewhere in the middle of the 3rd week, says I got to be at home on Friday." Oh, shit! I'm sorry, dude. It's Wednesday. You are in Colorado, and he was based out of somewhere in Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, or not even St. Louis. It was some little piece of nothing town south of the Missouri, down by the border of Arkansas, I guess. And I said, "Oh man, hey, listen, if you need to be home on a certain date, you need to let me know at least a week ahead of time." I said, "That way I can get you home a couple days before, or I can get you home a couple days after." I said, "There's no way I can get you home on the day you plan on being." So, that's the way it works in hot shotting. I can get you there a couple days early, or I can get you there a couple days late. I can usually never get you home on the day you request, that exact day. So, anyhow, he says, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. I said, "All right." So, load pops up, and it's going from where he's dropping at on Thursday, and it's going to St. Louis, which St. Louis was about 100 miles from where this guy lives. So I call him up, tell him about it, and he goes, "Yeah, man, that sounds good." I said, "Now listen, here's the deal. You can still be at home on Friday. I talked to the shipper. You can drop this load on Saturday, or you can drop it on Monday. It's completely up to you." And he says, "Okay, that sounds good." So anyhow, I go ahead and I book the load and go on about my business. Well, about 3 hours later, this guy calls me. Ron calls me. He says, "Hey man, I really got to be at home on Friday." I'm sorry, what discussion did we have a few hours ago? You'll be at home on Friday. You can drop this load on Saturday, or you can even drop it on Monday. Now, he says that, "Well, I don't think I can do it." Okay, let me get this right. You want to be home on Friday. I'm getting you home on Friday, and you're getting $3 a mile on top of that. He says, yeah, just go ahead and cancel it. I'll deadhead in after I got this load dropped." Okay. Evidently, what happens with some of these drivers is they get a little money in their pocket, and they decide they're going to quit trying. They decide they've got enough. They've made enough money. And the one thing I can promise you is in hot shotting, there's never enough money. Ever. because you got bills like insurance, you got equipment, you got a truck and a trailer, needs maintenance. So there's never really enough money in hotshotting. No matter what anybody says, you always want to make more, and you always need more because you're going to go through it. So anyhow, I call the broker up, and the broker, as you guessed, is pretty irate. He's like, man, I've already removed that load from the board. I'm going to have to go back into the process, get it reset up. And I said, look, I apologize. This has taken me by surprise too. So Mr. Ron Deadheads from, I think he was around Denver, somewhere like that, all the way to southern Missouri. Deadheads, all the way. Now, if you're pretty wealthy and you have a lot of money, knock yourself out. But don't you fucking call me, tell me you're making $2,500 a week, you're barely getting by, your marriage is on the rocks, you're going to end up getting a divorce because your wife hates you and what you're doing. And then let me make you money and then say, okay, you've made me enough money, I'm good. Okay, this is a symbiotic relationship. Okay, I dispatch your trucks because you make me fucking money. Okay, I'm not here as a luxury service. Okay, I'm not a booty call. Rolls around there, and I can kind of see where this is headed because it's happened to me once before. And I said, okay, he's supposed to launch out the following Monday. And following Monday rolls around, and I don't hear from him. I didn't hear from him Sunday, which is when I should have heard from him. I didn't hear from him Monday. So I said, okay, I'm just going to sit back and see how long this guy wants to sit at home, because evidently I've made him pretty good money. Well, he calls me on Thursday, and this cocksucker is hung up. He is hung up in a part of the country he should have never been in the first place. And my question is, well, how did you get there? I didn't send you there. I know better than to send you there. He said, oh, my old lady's found me some banging ass loads these last couple days. Okay, first off, I do not co-dispatch. I didn't at the time, and the way I understood it was that I was going to be the exclusive dispatcher. So that's on me, okay? And I said, okay. I said, I got a supplier that's close to there. I'll reach out to him because, like I said, his run rate has been pretty good. He's delivered on time. So, you know, I thought I'd take a chance and reach out to one of my suppliers that I had in the area. And he says, okay, I've got my old lady looking too. And I said, well, listen, here's the deal. Either she needs to look for you or I need to look for you, and you need to let me know right now which one it's going to be. He said, well, okay, well, go ahead and look. I said, okay, all right, I'll go ahead and look. So I said, before I got on the phone with him, I said, and this is pretty much going anywhere, right? Because you can't be choosy in that part of the country. And he said, yeah, just get me out of here. I said, okay. So about 45 minutes, 50 minutes pass, and a load pops up. That's about 150 miles from where he's at. And it happens to be going, I think, to Denver. Bingo. I hop on it. I call the broker. I said, hey, calling about this load going from point A to point B. He goes, yeah, I've got that. I said, I want it. He said, okay, all right, yeah, sure. What's your MC, DOT? Give him all the information. And then I hear his phone ring in the background. And this thing is ringing off the damn hook the whole time I'm on the phone. He said, look, I got it. I got to get this other line. I said, okay. So I hear him pick the phone up. He goes, yeah, hello? He goes, yeah, I got that load. He said, I'm actually in the process of booking it. And he goes, "Oh, really?" He says, "Well, hold on a minute." He gets back on the phone with me and he says, "Hey, man, look, the lady on the other line says she wants this load and she'll do it for $200 less." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Can you match that?" I said, "No, fuck no, I can't match that. I'm not, no." He goes, "Well, all right, I guess I'll have to go with them." I said, "Son of a bitch." I said, "Well, all right, I mean, that's $200 extra in your pocket. I get it." So I hang up and I go back to looking. Well, about 30 minutes later, guess who calls me? Yes, Mr. Ron calls me. And he proceeds to tell me that his old lady just booked him a load going from point A to Denver, Colorado. And I said, yeah, that was picking up at so and so. And it was this many miles, and it was for this much money. He goes, oh no, that must be a different load because this one's $200 less. And I had to tell him that, I said, "Well, I tell you what, Ron, just let your old lady dispatch for you from now on." I said, "I'm too busy. I've got other things to do." I said, "You're welcome to call and say hey from time to time, but just let her dispatch you from now on." He says, "Oh, oh, oh, okay." And that's where I left that. This fucking bitch cut her own throat for $200. So, short version, that's why I don't double dispatch anymore. So, if I dispatch somebody, it is strictly I am their dispatcher. And if they've got an old lady, they've got a wife, they've got a significant other, they've got a friend, it's always a friend or a buddy. Yeah, always. Always one of them things. If they've got one of them, then that's who they need to use full time henceforth. So, anyhow, that's my little synopsis, my little Ron story of why I do not double dispatch. And anyhow, like I said, we'll see you on the next video. Like and share if you like. We've got plenty more of these coming. So go get you some Hotshot money.